Hey guys and ghouls, I'm here on Let's Be Serious Seriously to talk about Arc Raiders and whether or not it's gonna be for you or not. Now, maybe you played this last Server Slam, maybe you played the tech test before that, maybe you haven't heard of Arc Raiders at all. At any rate, we're going to break this down, and if you're on the fence about buying it or looking into it, hopefully by the end of this video, you have some clarification and it will steer you in the right direction, alright? So first, to cover for those who haven't heard of Arc Raiders is a PvP, PvE extraction looter. Now, what is that, you might be asking yourself? Because myself personally, the last extraction looter I played was The Division. And you might be saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Then I played Escape from Tarkov and Hunt. Now, I'm an extraction pro. That might be the case. However, Arc Raiders is a much different extraction game than those two I just listed and most of the other ones on the market. And actually resembles The Division closer than like Escape from Tarkov. One of the big reasons is it's third person. If that alone turns you off, I'd still say stick around and hear what I have to say, because some of the third person elements do work in the favor of this game. If this game was in first person, it couldn't be what it is. And without getting into too much detail in this section, just know that the way the threats are set up, you would be getting tagged from behind a lot. You would not have enough awareness to really react appropriately to the threats. So, to go into it a little bit more, an extraction game is where you go into these rounds. You go into a match, and the intent is to go in, loot, and then extract without getting killed. If you get killed, you lose everything. That's the basics of it. And Arc Raiders does this with a sort of 80s sci-fi aesthetics. So the way your character looks and the design of the enemies, the NPC enemies, all have this futuristic sci-fi, 80s sci-fi appearance. And so is the music. The music's also really, it's synthy. In some ways, you know what? I would compare the aesthetics to Star Wars to a degree. However, it's less spacey. Think of like if maybe Star Wars was set on Earth and just Earth alone. Okay, now let's talk about when I say this is a PvP, PvE extraction looter. And I say looter because I think the extraction shooters usually reserved for first person extraction games, which most of them are. So I've been calling it an extraction looter. But anyways, the main focus here, the thing that sets it apart from a lot of other extraction shooters, is the PvE, player versus enemy, which the enemies in this game, the NPC enemies, are called the Arc. And the Arc are incredibly dangerous during your match. If a group of Arc find you, they will hunt you down and they will kill you. It's as simple as that. You will not John Wick these things. You will not Rambo them, nor will you Sarah Connor or John Connor them. They will find you and they will kill you. The Arc in this game are absolutely brutal, and that alone sets it apart from from a lot of the other extraction shooters. So just to paint you a real quick picture as I describe what Arc Raiders is, when you're in a match and you're going out there, whether you're solo or in a team, because the game does have both, you can either queue up on your own and as a single, or you can queue up on 3-man teams and go into these matches. You go out there, there are going to be Arc like drones hovering around, patrolling. They're going to be large walkers. There are going to be other specialty types, such as these little balls that shoot fire. They're basically little tennis or soccer ball flamethrowers. There's little spiders that will jump on you. Anyways, they're patrolling these buildings and exteriors, and what they're doing is they're looking for human beings. If they see you, depending on the type it is, it will behave differently. But bottom line is they're going to see you, they're going to make a noise, a screech, a robot sound, and try and attract other Ark to let them know there's a human, and then they're going to try and kill you. Thing is, they aren't easy to take down, and the AI is actually pretty adaptive. If you go into a building, they will hover down towards the windows and circle it and shoot pot shots at you. Or if you run behind a building, they might go the other way and take a moment to come at you from another direction. So you're there looking up, down, left, right, trying to figure out, where's this thing gonna come at me next. And it might take 10 seconds and then jump you from the left. Or it might just hide behind there and wait for you to take off and then pursue you again. I've ran a situation where they are very adaptive. It's hard for me to predict what they're going to do exactly. Their pack tactics are extremely lethal. If you get 2 or 3 of them on you, they will circle you. They'll make maneuvers. You'll get one that tases you, and the others will just beat you down with light machine gun fire. It's pretty interesting. But this dynamic of them being such a threat adds an element where other players, you always think twice before engaging another player, not because it's another player or you're worried about maybe what weapon they wield or what their skill is, right? Their skill set. You're worried that maybe you attract the Ark. You're making calculated decisions like, hey, if I fight this guy, and there's a thing called a Rocketeer. It's a drone that fires rocket launchers. Maybe I attract that Rocketeer and it takes us both out. However, on the flip side, there's certain utility items such as something called it's called a lure grenade. And when you throw this grenade, it attracts the Ark. You can use the Ark as a viable way to destroy another enemy squad. A squad, attracts 3 to 5 Ark, they are in serious trouble. So that really adds a very solid third dimension to the chessboard that is the matches of Ark Raiders. So with that said, I hope I've painted you a decent picture of what Ark Raiders is. Next, what I'm going to talk about is who is Ark Raiders for, in my opinion. First of all, I'm saying this just from anecdotal kind of experience. I've heard a lot of first-person fanatics, such as like your hardcore Call of Duty players, have some complaints about this game. A lot of them do not like the third-person element of it. They've called it goofy, they've called it casual. I've even heard some people call it unfair that it's third-person. If you're someone who can't get behind like a Gears of War game or The Division, which I've referenced, earlier, you might not like this. It does share some elements in gameplay wise with those two games. I would say less with Gears of War, because Gears of War, basically you get into shotgun duels. It's not that at all. But the third person element of it and kind of like the vaulting, yeah, it does kind of have a similarity with Gears of War in that aspect. And with The Division, I feel Division, you could soak, a whole round of machine gun fire into an NPC, and he would just come at you with the pistol held sideways, shuffling towards you still. I think Ark Raiders, when you fight enemies or players, it's much more responsive and much more fast-paced than that. Now, if I said all that and that all of that excited you, then I think we're on the right track. You are probably going to enjoy this game a lot, because what Ark Raiders does in terms of tension, I would even say immersion, and the fluidity of the gameplay mechanics, it does it extremely well. I've heard some people where this is sort of a casual game, And I understand why they might say that compared to some other extraction shooters. However, I do disagree. This is not a casual game. When you turn this game on and you're in a match, you do not want to be trying to have a conversation on the side while you're playing, because, you know, if you get killed, there are some ramifications. There are things like a free loadout you can get, and you can go out there and basically get killed without consequence. So in that sense, that's most likely where they're coming from in the casual department. Though still, more likely than not, you're not going to be rolling with the free loadout. And more likely than not, if you're rolling with the free loadout, it's because you're low on supplies and you're trying to gather things. You know, if you go out even with a free loadout, you find a rare gun, all of a sudden, there are high stakes. You get what I'm saying? So, usually, you turn on Arc Raiders, you're locked in. Or at least I hope you are. Otherwise, you're probably going to be getting killed a lot. So, Arc Raiders, I mentioned this earlier, gives you the option to play solo and team play. And in this section, using that as my platform, these two sort of, not game modes, but ways to approach it, I'm going to tell you how it sets it apart from a lot of other extraction shooters. I know I said I haven't played a lot of extraction shooters. I played The Division, like I said, though I've played a lot of other games, and I do know from first-hand experience this game has some unique things going for it. So in the PvP and the PvP arena, I'm going to say this game takes the intellectual part of tactical and turns it up to a few degrees. The reason I say that is because you do not have to be the best shooter, know the map the best, have the best equipment, or be able to 360 no scope to be able to hold your own in this game. This game heavily rewards you playing intellectually. Just because someone opens fire on you and starts beating you, you have about half a second to make a decision. You know, jump behind cover or run away or turn around and shoot back. It's not so short of a time to kill where once you're tagged a few times, it's over. All right. I've learned to shoot first, ask questions later. I usually use the bolt action rifle. And for those who played, I used the Pharaoh. You know, I usually upgrade it to the max. And I would see someone and I would just pop a shot off, hit him, and he would either dive for cover, start recharging his shields, bandaging himself up, getting ready to fight, or he would just run off. I'm gonna have to say, just try and watch some gameplay footage, because the game is not one where you run out and just start shooting everything in sight. Again, it's an intelligence-based tactical extraction game. You need to choose your engagements. The fun is in the tension of everything. But what I want from you, if you played the Tech Test 2, if you played just the Sever Slam, or if you played Arc Raiders at all, comment down below on what you think about the game. How are you feeling? Did this video make you decide to get the game or not get the game? Or if you got questions, you know what? Ask below. I'll answer them. So, to cap this off, the game releases on October 30th, 5 days from now. Should be this Thursday coming up. I myself have already pre-ordered it, and I'm going to be playing. If you do pick up the game, I think I'm going to drop my Steam tag below, and that way you can friend me, and I'll squad up with you. And I'll help you out and help you, get started with the game if you're new. If you played as much as I have before, we'll squad up, go up top, and show them how it's done. Anyways, guys, this is where I'm going to end it. Take care, and later days.